Hello and welcome to my channel. This is Lisa with Lisa's Faith and Budget Planning channel. I'm excited to be here today because I am excited to close the books on May. So I will be doing weekly check-in and I will be closing Paycheck 3, which was very short. It was only 4 days. And doing all the things to finish out May and roll over into June and just get that closed in the books. If this is the kind of content you're interested in, stick around and I will be right back. Okay, so here we are. We are checking in for what I called week 5 of my weekly check-in, and we're doing the 28th through the 31st. And yeah, I didn't have a lot of numbers left. I had $178.78 in my spending categories, but I had a little bit more than that in my buffer. And I'll show you the total, that number plus what was left in my buffer. And that was Paycheck 3. And there was $312.84. So that's what we were working with the last few days of May going into June. And you're going to see some you're going to see some no spend days, but those no spend days weren't actually no spend days. They were just a placeholder for me because I put whatever transactions that happened on the last 2 days of May into June, and you'll see that coming up in my June budget. So let me zoom in real quick and go ahead and go to my weekly check-in calendar. So this is my calendar. Every transaction based on the day, this is where I put it. I like to go ahead and put stickers down. I make my own stickers. Sometimes I use stickers from sticker shops like Sarah Marie stickers and things like that, and put down the expenses, what they are, and I put them in categories. So I have grocery, household in pink, restaurants in blue, miscellaneous in green, gasoline in purple, and unbudgeted, which is this blue with the yellow in the square. I like just highlighting the square because the sticker color matches usually my washi, and that's the aesthetic I like seeing. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom us in and I will be right back. Okay, I am back. So here's a up close look at my key for my how I categorize my spending. These are just for spending categories. I plan my one and done, what I call one and done budget items, which is my bills, like your cable, your mortgage, and all that stuff that happens once and then gone. And then I budget in blocks and compartmentalize my grocery, household, restaurants, miscellaneous, and gasoline. And then if I have enough in the buffer that's left over in the paychecks, unbudgeted items that I may need to purchase. So if I need something that I didn't plan on, let's say I have to take my car in the shop and it was like a $300 thing and I had $600 in my checking account and I didn't want to use my emergency fund, then I would use the unbudgeted as the item. I did that a couple times. The plumber came for $270 this month. And then also over here, my husband made an eye appointment and we just forgot to budget how much his new glasses would be. So that happens. Other than that, we didn't spend, and I count that as a no spend, even though there was an unbudgeted item. For me, no spends are if I do not spend in my 4 spending category. And I didn't spend in my 4 spending categories that day, but we did have to pay for glasses, which, you know, we would have taken out of the buffer and it wouldn't have shown up on this calendar anyway, but because we forgot, it did. So that's just kind of how my brain works. Here we go. So I do not have my pretty sticky note anymore. I used all the stickers on my Erin Condon floral sticky note, but I do have, and I got to pull it out real quick, a new one that has a checklist, which is kind of cool. So I'm going to pull this out of my agenda here and see if I like this one. The only thing I don't like is it's front and back, and then there's a separation in between. And I'm like, I'm not sure how I like about that. So this is what we're working with today. And I will just go through and write all that I spent based on their categories. Now I do this and I write it on here first and then I flip the page. That way I'm not going back and forth on the page. Now I only have to work with these 2 days because what I did do over here is I marked these as no spend days. Well, 1, I didn't have a lot of space, and 2, I decided to use June's money for these last 2 days in the month. So when you see me do my weekly check-in for June this week, not this week, next week, you're going to see on June's calendar, and I'll just show you real quick. Let me find June's calendar real quick. That I went ahead and started 30th, 31st, this was Memorial Day here, and put that money over here because I had already gotten my husband's first of the month pay here on Saturday. It happened midnight Friday night, which is a full business day, and it got deposited Saturday morning. So even though 31st or midnight 31st going into the 1st is when it would be due, normally show in our bank account, because of Memorial Day and banking, and they just decided to give it early, and I'm like, hey, I'm okay with that. So let's just work with these 2 days, and I'll go ahead and separate everything out, and then we'll see what we spent. I do know we're over budget, but we were okay with that. Just so much going on this weekend. So grocery household, I had $12.70. I think my husband went to the store and got some stuff for himself, and it was at Walmart, and that's why his name's there, Eric. And so that was what he bought. I can't remember exactly what that was. And then I did a big grocery run before Memorial Day really kicked off too much, and had enough food for the weekend and going into this week. Because Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday, well, actually the whole weekend, I didn't have a vehicle. My vehicle's in the shop, and that's going to be expense later. You're going to notice it during my credit card transactions. So I'm going to start adding that to my sinking funds, and maybe when I do check-ins and stuff like that weekly, what went on my credit card, because I do have a credit card transaction log now, and I'm absolutely loving it because it's keeping me within my bounds and allowing me to think about my money and still pay it off every month. So Walmart, $138.03. Like I said, it was Memorial Day weekend. I wanted to get enough groceries, and because my husband's first of the month pay was already in, no problem. So $138.03 was what I got there. So those are my two grocery household, and let's just tally these two up. So I have, let's see, $12.70 plus $138.03 and $150. Now I normally do my check-ins from Thursday or from Friday to the next Thursday, 7 days. But because I was dealing with 2 months in the middle of the week, I decided to just kind of abbreviate it, and then things like that. So let's see what's going on next. Grocery household, restaurants. We have Papa John. Oh, I need to check these off. All right. We have Papa John's, which is pizza Friday nights. $51.89. I like to leave a pretty big tip when I do. My Papa John's people absolutely love it. When I wonder if they actually fight to come to my house because they get a decent tip. I don't know. But yeah, we we like to tip them well. We've become really good friends because we see them every Friday. We get different people every week, it seems like, but they sometimes it's the same person every week. But they're pretty awesome. I really like them. And my kids love their pizza, so we always get it. And then my husband and I had to pick up lunch. We were out, $20.61. And then why not? The weekends are usually when we do a lot of eating out because it's just too difficult through the week. Too many things have been going on recently. It's the end of the school year. Our home group from church is wrapping up, and we're doing activities more and things, and I just don't have time to stop and cook. So yeah, that's kind of what's going on there. Let's total these up. $51.89, $20.61, and $30.81. Oops. Try that again. I put the wrong number in. $51.89 plus $20.61 plus $30.81. There we go. All right, so that was $103.31. And that's good there. And then I had two miscellaneous purchases. I bought a book for my Kindle That was $8.49. And then I have another Amazon purchase, and I'm trying to think. Oh, my husband and I take sleep aids at night to help us sleep, and that's what that was about. So I usually buy them in bulk on Amazon. It's cheaper, you get more for your money, and that's what I got there. And my husband, when he gets underway, he needs to have those with him when he goes. So I make sure I have plenty before he left, or before he leaves. He hasn't left yet, but he will be leaving sometime soon. And he'll be traveling on business, as I call it, but he's a contractor for the Navy. So basically, when I say travel for business, he's on a ship somewhere and out to sea. So let me write these two transactions down. $8.49 and $30.19. All right, so what we have here, $38.68. There we go. All right, so now I can take these numbers and put them in my totals in my weekly check-in. So I'm gonna go ahead and flip the page, and I'm actually gonna pop this out real quick and just make it easier for me to write on and move the paper around, because this notebook is getting thick. All right, so what I spent here for a grocery household, as you can see, I'm already over budget from last time, and that's just going to increase the over budget for the spending category. And I'm going to be over budget here, but I'm not over budget because whatever I spent over in overall here will be coming out of the buffer of the checking account. And like I said, when I did all these transactions, the next month's money already was in the account. So it's accounted for. It's not a problem. It just, I just have to lay it all out on paper. That way my numbers look right when I go into June. So $150 here and 73 cents. Now that 138, I probably would have spent like after June 1st, once the money was normally put in, but because I already had it, I just spent it, and I took it out of May instead of June, just because I knew I had more spending to do. So it just doesn't matter what month, as long as the money's there and you track it, whether it was May or June, it still comes out in the wash in the end. So that's why I didn't worry about it, and I didn't care if it was, because I'm not tracking to find out how much I spend per month. I'm just tracking how much I'm spending, and when I get to the end of the month, the numbers tell me how to proceed and how I can decide, well, maybe I'll do this month with this transaction, and next month I'll carry it over here for the other transactions. So it's just a way for me to track and keep it simple for myself. So it may not be for you. You get to track however you want to. And that's great. I love it. I think it's awesome that we get different, we think differently, and we can create different ways to track. So here we go. 103.31 for restaurants, and then 38.68 and 0. There were no gas transactions. Thankfully, no unbudgeted for the week. And so let's total these numbers up. Sorry, my voice. Okay, I am back. So sorry about that. I had a coughing fit. My voice just started cracking. It was weird. So anyways, I have 150.73 plus the 103.31 plus the 38.68. And that's it. So we spent $292.72. I'm gonna make this a negative. I want to go ahead and add this 178.78, and that should give us a negative 113.94. And based on my cheat sheet over here that I made earlier, that's the correct number. So I don't need that anymore. So let's do it across and see what our numbers are. So I have 89.94. I'm gonna make it a negative because it's a negative here, and I'm going to subtract what I spent, 150.73. So for the entire month of May, I am over budget by $240.67. Now, what I've been realizing is, because I do buy pain patches for my back and to sleep at night. That has raised the price, and I use HelloFresh as part of my grocery budget, and that's kind of pushed the price up a little bit too, and grocery prices have gone up. And you know, I bought a little bit of June's groceries in May. So that's that combination right there. And I'm okay with it because I had the buffer to spend it, and that's okay. But I don't like that I went that far up. So I'm going to rethink a lot of things on the pain patches. Can I get a prescription that's cheaper, or get a prescription and it won't be cost, because we are a military retired family, and we do go to a military treatment facility. So we typically do not, if we go there, we do not pay for prescriptions. If we go out in town, we do pay for prescriptions, things like that. So I'm going to have to talk to my doctor, and I hate going to the doctor. So anyway, that's my problem. So restaurants, I have $52.06 budgeted. I spent $103.31. I should say we spent. So we were over budget $51.25. And I think that was just because we knew we had the money in the bank, and my husband's first month's check came early. So we just said, you know, forget it. We're just going to order out. It was just a rough weekend. But miscellaneous, look at that. I had $95.98, and I didn't spend it all, which I'm very proud of myself. So $95.98 minus the $38.68. So that is actually going to cover the cost of the restaurants, which is good. $57.30. And then I still had $120.68 worth of gas money that we didn't spend. Now, this month we're spending gas more frequently for the first week of the month, but then the rest of the month, probably not. So there's that. That I never include unbudgeted. So if I total this, I'm going to start from the bottom with the positive numbers and then subtract those at the end. I should come up with this number. So let's see what happens. 120.68 plus the 57.30 minus the 51.25 minus the 240.67, and yes, check and check. So we are good to go. We are negative, but it did stay in balance, and that's all I was over for the entire month. Not too bad. It's not spending in gas that saved us, and not spending all of the miscellaneous, which is really, really good. Now, if I could have kept grocery, household, and restaurants in check, and not borrow from these and borrow from the buffer in my checking account, then we probably could have. And I was just noticing this, that if at the end of each week, whatever money is left over, if you don't use it for your other categories, you can actually use that as a savings challenge, like a weekly savings challenge, to put money into savings each week after you do your weekly check-in. That way you can save a little extra money every month or every week in order to build up your savings. Me, I like to spend the whole thing and apparently then some. So there's that. So that is the weekly check-in. We're going to look at my Paycheck 3, and we're going to close it out too. We're just closing the whole month of May out. So let me zoom. Well, actually, I'm going to keep you zoomed in. And I'm just going to flip to Paycheck 3. There we go. And because it's very short. All right, so this is what we had in income. I balanced forward from the previous Paycheck 2 when I did the closeout, and then the salary did not change. And then this was the total of income that we have, $2,651.04. I tithe $310, which is our normal tithing. Visa is now Hopewell and subscriptions. Hopewell is a Christian counseling service that my husband and I are using, and they're amazing, and we are very happy with them, and we're excited about it. So, but this was a lot of different variety of things and some extra spending. like Mother's Day and stuff like that, I just threw it on the credit card and took it out of the buffer, which was what we agreed to do, and that was fine. And then this is what I had left in the spending. Instead of breaking out grocery, household, restaurants, miscellaneous, gasoline, like I normally do, it's on the weekly check-in. And so if you saw a minute ago, that is what I actually spent. $292.72, $292.72. And so when you take the income minus these expenses, this is the total that got balanced forward to the month of June. Now, I don't really do anything in this category over here. It's fine. What I had left over, what I made sure I did is I needed to transfer over at a minimum $588, and this says 91 cents, but actually the bill was $588.88 into June, for the 1st of June, to cover my property tax for my vehicles. But I actually got to transfer this much over, so that works for me. And I'm going to actually take these two numbers and just kind of do the math right here. So the $312.84 minus the $292.72, and that gives me $20.12 that I did not spend. And that's it. So that closes out paycheck 3. Pretty sure, I think I finished my monthly. No, now that I've got my monthly, I need to close out for a second. Okay, I am back. So I had to do some adjustments, and this is going to be really funny. I was off by a nickel and didn't realize it until I looked at my Excel spreadsheet. Yes, I did do a May Excel spreadsheet, but I did not do videos. I was babysitting a lot this month, and I couldn't do both. I had to give up one. So I did my pen and paper budgets on video, but I did not do my Excel. Hopefully in the month of June, I'll get caught up and do an Excel setup and do all the numbers, because I won't be babysitting as much in June. But I was a nickel off on my spending categories for my gasoline. I'm not sure how I did it, but I did go back and change it. And so instead of doing it on camera, I just did it off camera. And so here's the new numbers. It's 13. I was off by a nickel. So somewhere from this point, I wrote 53 here, but when I added up what I needed to, this became an 8 instead of a 3. And I was carrying that number all the way through. So I went back and changed it. These are the new totals for the weekly check-in. It was a nickel. It's not that big a deal. If you have something like that where it's just pennies off and it's not easy to find, just put the actual number from the bank account and then move forward. Don't really pay attention to that because pennies, usually you can take just a few cents off and it doesn't really overly, put you in the hole for your bank account, because you should always have at least a certain amount of dollars, $10, $15, $20, $25 sitting in your checking account for those pennies. If you can't have a robust budget and a robust bank account. But if you can add more, I try to keep a few $100s in my checking account, just so that when times come and I forget something or I make an error in my numbers on my budget sheets, like this nickel I somehow put in or thought I spent and didn't spend, then the buffer of your checking account can absorb the difference once you find it. And just usually I just write adjustment and make the adjustment and make the numbers right. I don't even try to go finding it, but I did find it, so that was good. I do have my numbers here. I just kind of wrote them at the bottom of what I had earlier in my little notepad here. So these are the bottom numbers, are the totals for all of these categories. Grocery, household, for the month, I spent $1,240.67. The restaurants, we spent $701.25, and I wrote it in red to remind myself it's over budget there. Obviously here, this is $492.70, which is under budget there. And way under budget is gasoline, $129.37. So that saved us some money and helped with the adjustments and only allowed us to be $113.99 over in total. But let's go ahead and figure out what the differences were. These should match what I had at the end of week 5 in my weekly check-in. So I had $1,000. Well, that's easy to do. And this checks out. It is a negative $240.67. This one I can't do in my head. So I budget $650 for my restaurants, and I went over by 700. Oh, let's try it again. 650 minus 701.25, and that gave us a negative 51.25, which should be what's on my weekly check-in as well. And then I'm under budget, so let me switch in pens here. 550 minus the 492.37, and that's this right here. And then move my thing up here for a second. $250 minus the 129.37, and that gives us 120.63, and that's what I have. So what I can do, and I will do off camera, is come up with my total expenses minus my total income and see if I come up with the same number. So I'm going to go ahead and do that total, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So you saw me flip some pages and do things in the fast forward. I forgot this $88, which is typically what my Orkin is for the spray, but they also sprinkled down ant stuff that because we had a lot of ants outside around our house, and they added that, and it was a $7.92 extra to put that stuff down, the granules. So I forgot to add that to that, and I wrote the wrong number down. So I went back and calculated the difference and then put it in, and so we spent $9,290.51, and hoping that I didn't make any other mistakes, I'm going to make this a negative. I'm going to add this, and we're going to go over here to how much we actually brought home in income or transferred from savings, and add the 989944. I don't know why I said it that way. There we go. So we had available to us when we went from May to June, and I believe this is what my Paycheck 3 shows, $608.93. Let's see if I did that right. That was close. So this says $609.03, and they met. I wonder if that has to do with the nickel. No. All right, so there is a little bit of a difference, but I am not that worried about it. I will figure it out and take care of it later. I'm gonna make a okay, so this is it. This is everything. I've closed out the weekly check-in. I was missing a nickel, and then I did all my transactions. Everything's been checked off, and these are my transaction logs where I actually write them down like a check register. Paycheck 3 was closed out. I'm off a little bit by a nickel. I will figure that out at a later date. And then I closed out my monthly budget. And so this and my Paycheck 3 are a little bit off. They should be the same by the end of the month. This is just one long monthly review. And then this is paycheck to paycheck. And this is where the actuals really should narrow down what it is. A lot of times, sometimes people just do a budget for the month, but then do paycheck to paycheck. The budget for the month, the best part of the budget for the month is to see if you have enough deposits to cover the expenses. So that is the importance of doing the entire month. And then when you want to do a more narrow focus, you just do paycheck to paycheck with the actual money on hand. And these are estimates. These are actuals. Now you can run the actuals on a monthly budget cover, but you don't have to. So if this is too much for you, then don't worry about it. Just run the numbers for the month to make sure you have enough deposits come in and to cover all the expenses going out, and then go ahead and do paycheck to paycheck after that. it's just a safety net of knowing, yeah, I know I'm going to have enough money for the month, but do I have enough money per paycheck to cover every bill that's coming through the month? And that's what the calendar is for. So when you lay down your bills on that calendar each day, and then you know what paycheck time period you have to cover what bills, then you know for sure during your paycheck to paychecks that those bills that you have listed for that paycheck period, so this is paycheck 2, so it would be the 14th through the 27th, you lay all your bills in here, and then what you think your expenses are going to be, then you know whether you have enough or not. So, and if you don't have enough when you do the budget, like I had here, it's red, I made sure that I didn't go over in certain categories and to keep it within budget, or I made adjustments in other places or transferred from savings to make sure things got covered. So that is how I run my paycheck to paycheck, which is more vital to me than the monthly budget. But I do love doing the monthly budget to make sure for the entire month there's enough covered. And if there's not, then I know I can pull from my emergency fund, because at that point it is an emergency, because you have to pay all your bills and you still have to eat and get gas. Now I may trim back like miscellaneous or restaurants, but other than that, I'm not going to be able to trim back very much, because most of these bills are actuals and they have to be paid. I can cancel subscriptions, I can cancel a lot of things if I need to, but I may not always get that opportunity. And so I need to make sure I have the money in the right places at the right time. So that is my recap for the entire month of May. We did good. We did go over, but we stayed within what I had in the checking account and the income I had. We had about $600 left over. That rolled over to the next month, which is good, because $588.88 is going to the property tax to a vehicle, and I wanted to make sure it came out of May's money, not June's money. So that's what happened there. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope this helped you in some way. If it did, please give it a thumbs up. And if you like videos like this, please subscribe to my channel. And I cannot wait to see you in the next video. Bye.